Hi. Are you overstimulated? Do you feel that modern games are full of too many bells and whistles and all that rat-a-tat-tatting from the big guns that the guys with the big guns carry around? Then you need Retro, the game that recreates the simple games of the past on the hardware of the not-quite-so-in-the-past. It'll have you drifting back to the halcyon days of gaming in no time. I'm Dr. Zoe, and I approve of this message. Do you remember when magazines like Amstrad Action, Amiga Format and so forth used to give away games on their front covers, on the tapes, the discs or whatever? They'd often be games that you'd never seen before but which ripped off older classic games. Did you ever fancy buying 8 of those rip-offs all on one disc for your home console? Then Retro has you covered. This is a collection of old games given a more modern makeover and presented on a PS2 disc. We've got all sorts here: Arkanoid, Pac-Man, Frogger, Defender, Asteroids, Puzzle Bobble, or Buster Move if you prefer. It's the same game. Now, you might be thinking that I would riff quite heavily on something like this because it is a collection of rip-offs, but here's the thing, it's actually quite a good collection. So let's take a look. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that there's no music. The menu had music, which admittedly was rather generic and quick to repeat, but the games themselves do not. There are some sound effects though, so it's not like you're having to play in silence, and to be fair, I didn't really notice the lack of music after a few minutes. It would have been nice to have some though. This is Bounce and Break, a standard Arkanoid clone. As Arkanoid clones go, it's pretty decent. The paddle can be controlled by the D-pad or the left analog stick, which offers a far smoother method of play, and the game itself is smooth, although it's surprisingly difficult, and there aren't enough power-ups in my view, but aside from that, it's a decent game. I played this for longer than expected when reviewing this game, so there's definitely something to it. So yeah, it's good, but it's nothing that we haven't seen a million times before. So what's next? Pac-Man is one of the most famous games in the world, so naturally it's in this collection. Here you get to play as the cute little robot guy from the front cover, which I suppose is nice. The whole game is themed around this guy in some way, be it in the colour scheme the paddle from the Arkanoid clone, to actually seeing the little guy here. The game itself is nothing you haven't seen before. It's a good Pac-Man game, I'll grant you that. It plays well, it's smooth, and the controls are good, but like the Arkanoid game before it, there's nothing here that you haven't seen before. And that's the problem here. It's nothing new, literally nothing new. If you came in looking for innovation, you've come to the wrong place. So why do I like this game? Well, let's play on and find out. This is a great game. It's Missile Command crossed with Spin Drone essentially. What's Spin Drone, you might ask? Well, it's a funny little game from the Amstrad CPC that I used to play a lot because I didn't have very many games, so what I had to do, even though I was terrible at it. I'm sure this game was based on an arcade game, but I haven't got a clue which one. Anyway, back to this laser command game on the Retro collection. You have 2 towers, one controlled with the left trigger and one with the right trigger. You move your cursor around the screen and can fire with one tower or both to destroy the aliens that are trying to steal your little robot guys, who all look like the guy from the front cover. Again, this plays really well. It's smooth, it's responsive. It's difficult as all hell once you get past the first wave, and I really like it. I keep coming back to it for a few more minutes worth of shooting fun. And there is the reason that I like this collection so much. Whether it's blasting asteroids in a really nice clone of, well, funnily enough, asteroids, or playing Puzzle Bobble, even though you could actually just easily play actual Puzzle Bobble, or Buster Move, since there are at least 3 copies of the actual game on the PS2, I'm just saying, or giving an isometric 3D version of Frogger a try, or finally trying to master light cycles even though you know it's impossible to master light cycles, or finally playing an unabashed clone of Space Invaders, it's all good fun. There's nothing here that isn't really well made, smooth to play, and fun. It's all really good and it's all responsive. Okay, none of it's original, but if you just want something that you know you can sit down and play and it's going to be A, really good, and B, work and be a lot of fun, then Retro has you covered. The games are well written and they look great. There's clearly been a lot of effort put in here, more so than with the average budget title of the time. Bubble Puzzle, for example, is a brilliant clone of Puzzle Bobble. All the features of the game, as well as all the other clone games on offer here, are present and they all work properly. I really like the level of polish that's been put into this, especially with the effort to theme each game to the little robot guy mascot. Now, okay, the isometric 3D for Hopper, the Frogger clone, makes the game a little more difficult than I would like, but at least that adds a new level of skill to this old classic. you're not going to get anything new here. It's all been seen and done before. But if you can look past that, then you've got a nice collection of games that, yeah, sure, you would have found them on a cover disc for Amiga format or something like that at one time, but now they're all here on one disc for your gaming pleasure. And sometimes that's all that matters. Okay, that's really all we got time for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little look at a budget classic. And if you did, remember to click that like button, share this with your friends so they'll know a good game when they see it, and do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching GameHammer on the Not Mouse channel, and I'll see you later.